Palantir is cutting jobs in London. About 75 jobs. The Colorado-based data analytics company is consulting on proposals to slash as many as 75 jobs. That would represent a cut of just over 8% of its UK workforce. Now, UK is one of the largest places for Palantir, and they're cutting off 8% of people. They cut off 2% of people back in February of their global workforce. So 2 questions for you. Number 1, why do you think they're scaling back some jobs? Number 2, does this mess up any of the NHS deal, given they're getting rid of people in the UK? You would kind of politically not want to cut jobs in the place you're about to get a really big contract from. How do you kind of conceptualize that?
All right, cool. So before the price went up, I had a thesis, and now the price going up from Palantir kind of reinforces. I don't want to say I'm right. I'm just giving you guys my thesis. So some people are thinking that we lost the NHS deal because we're scaling back. Now we're scaling back 8%, which is approximately 75 people.
Correct.
2 things. Number 1, they said we don't want to, because of the gap profitability, to be as lean as possible. We're not going to spend money where we can't make money. So that's 1, they're going out. But that doesn't mean we lost the NHS contract. It could also mean we got the NHS contract and they no longer need their sales force, or they no longer need that wing of their employees to keep pushing for the NHS contract. It could mean we actually got the contract and they're like, okay, we no longer need these people. Let's move on. That's
so you're saying the contract could have been gotten, and there's certain roles in the UK that are unnecessary because basically it's like, all right, we got the deal, we can do whatever we want now, and like we can do the they let's say they were trying to cut these people like in February, but the contract wasn't confirmed, and so they kept them until they got the contract affirmation. It's a theory you have, right? But it makes sense. That
just a theory.
Yeah.
Now, there was another piece of news which I sent you an article from the NHS where the NHS says that there might be. So I guess every hood is called a trust in UK. I guess like every area or every county. I don't know how it works there, but they're called trusts. And they said that every trust is going to have its own federated data platform that's going to tie into the main federated data platform. So again, this just came out. This is all breaking. I sent the article to you as well.
I'll pull up that article right now.
So there's 2 ways of thinking about this. Some people are like, well, Palantir lost the NHS contract. And other people are like, well, Palantir increased their NHS contract because now they're going to make a bunch of little smaller. Palantir has a unique ability on their software is they give access to who needs access as much as they need it. And they cut off access if you don't have, if you can't go past a certain point, right? Like they cut off who can see the access and the data. Well, if they're going to make smaller federated data systems for each specific hospital or hood, I don't know what a trust is, to be honest. I guess that's
And that goes to your point, because the article says it seems that NHS will make the budget work by picking Palantir and making the trust, which are these like smaller subsidiaries of the overall system, pay for it. A loss leader contract with balloon payments is what got NHS England hooked in the first place. Look, I kind of don't like this. I think, here's the thing. All right, here's my overall take. If Palantir does not get this deal, the NHS is fucked. And I'm sorry to everyone living in the UK, but you guys are fucked. Your government is fucked. They don't know how to actually solve the bureaucratic system. That's, by the way, they've spent $10 billion over the past 20 years trying to solve. They haven't been able to solve it. And if Palantir can't solve it, I don't know who the hell is solving it. So I think the NHS at this point is smart enough to realize we've got to solve this issue. Palantir is going to either get a majority of this deal or all of this deal or a decent portion of it. Because if they don't, then that means the UK has fundamentally decided to pick politics over people. And I think that would be a sad thing to see. But again, going to your point, hospitals in the UK have already been warned to start importing their data into Foundry in different places. We got the COVID vaccination 2-year agreement. Like, there's been so much work done in the NHS that if we don't get this deal, it would be very surprising to me. Like, I would be shocked. But, you never know. So I guess we'll see if it happens.
This is my thesis, because everyone likes to panic, but everything I said makes kind of sense, right? Like they landed the NHS deal finally, and they're like, yo, we don't need this staff anymore. We're trying to be as lean as possible. And all of a sudden, Palantir is up. Now, Palantir is up on a roll. However, this is a really up on top of a lot of ups, right? So there is a reason for this. I don't know what the reason is, but it could play out for what I'm saying. Like, it's possible that they landed, that's it. They got the NHS contract. That's why they're firing these people. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, look, the other thing is, like, if we don't get the deal and the shares drop on that, I'll buy it, because at some point there are going to be other governments around the world and commercial enterprises that are going to realize the benefit of Palantir, and they're going to optimize their healthcare systems. I mean, see, this is the interesting about part of Palantir. Cleveland Health Clinic, Cardinal Health, and the Tampa Bay General Hospital. Maybe I need to do an updated video on these. These are three of some of the biggest academic research institutions and actual clinical facilities for like the medical industry in terms of at least America that are using Palantir software. I mean, Cleveland Clinic is one of the biggest academic research institutions when it comes to just medicine and research and cancer diagnosis and all of these things. They're implementing Palantir from a data perspective. And then Cardinal Health is actually implementing Palantir from the supply chain. So like the doctors, those needles that they have to fucking, take your blood from, like you need a supply chain to be able to make sure you have enough of those needles when someone comes into the hospital. And Cardinal Health operates a ton of hospitals within their network. So healthcare is, I think, a massive opportunity for Palantir.
Massive.
I think the NHS recognizes that. And drug discovery, pharmaceutical discovery, this is all part of the healthcare play, which is, we had Sean on a couple months ago. Sean, he has some experience in healthcare. He was saying this is a $4 trillion opportunity for Palantir. They're not going to get all $4 trillion, but this is a massive market. And, I guess
600.
Oh, we got 600. We got 600.
I got water in my bottle. I can't do it.
I never had 600 in the morning stream, so thank you for being here.
I kept watching. I was like so excited for you. So I wanted to mention another thing. So I put out a video yesterday. There was an interview on CNBC with Yardeni Research and some hedge fund, the blonde-haired woman. In any case,
by the way, while you're talking, I'm just going to scroll through Twitter so we see what the Palantards are.
Thank you. And she says that healthcare, AI in healthcare, is a $200 billion total addressable market in the U.S.
$200 billion. Yeah, 100%.
Huge, bro. Huge.
Absolutely. I mean, look, healthcare is like, the United States has a privatized healthcare system, and that's why there's a lot of more economic opportunities because the state doesn't control it. But you talk about drug discovery, you talk about actual clinical research, and then you talk about just the amount it costs to be able to do surgeries, things of that nature, to make all of that efficient. This is why I invested. I'm sure you invested 2 years ago because you were like, we didn't know everything about Palantir, but we were like, wait a second. If their software makes businesses more effective, what if that software could be in every fucking business in the world? And healthcare is just one. I mean, the energy industry is a multi-trillion-dollar industry. Forget healthcare. There are so many places where Palantir could be used if they can just execute. This is why I think maybe it's not a Salesforce. Maybe it is a Tesla, in terms of an S-curve, not delivering returns, but Salesforce didn't have an S-curve. Salesforce just went up slowly. Maybe there is an S-curve if AI gets adopted at the level that we think it is.
But it is. It's like hair. That's what I'm saying. Like, look, there was a craze for crypto, but crypto was a certain market. There was a craze for EV, but EV was a certain market. There was a craze for .com bubble, but it was a certain market. AI, it's not just the craze, it's the whole world. It's not just the market, right? Like, and people are using AI in various different forms. Now, when I say AI, I don't mean just Palantir, but people are using AI every single day. Guys, anytime you have an email that's corrected, your spelling, your grammar, that's AI. Where do you think it's coming from?
Yeah.
Anytime you're
100%.
looking for a search, all those cookies, the data they're taking, the cookies when you go on a website. Why do you think you can talk about anything and all of a sudden you go on Facebook and that thing pops up and you're like, yo, I don't remember even mentioning this, because your phone is listening to you all the time. It's data. This is AI finding stuff. So some AI is good, some AI is bad, but it's everywhere.
This video popping up in the feed of someone who has never seen it before and just discovering it, that's artificial intelligence. That is a recommendation algorithm. It's what I'm trying to build on my startup, by the way, audia.io. Link is in the description. Check it out. We are trying to build an artificially intelligent recommendation algorithm for audio so we can get audio creators discovered. But the reason we have 600 people here is because YouTube and their phenomenal algorithms decided, hey, this video might be relevant to someone who might not even care about Palantir, but maybe they're kind of interested because they clicked on some of these other videos and it puts it in their face. Now, the problem is that level of artificial intelligence, and I'll say the same thing for my startup, what we are trying to do with AI and ultimately recommendation engines to get creators discovered, it is beautiful. It means something. It gives people an audience, gives people purpose, but it's not as important as using AI to solve cancer. It's not as important as using AI to make hospitals more effective so that people don't fucking die, right? And the Google's using AI to serve you more ads. Palantir is using AI to stop the country from being invaded by Mother Russia.
Bro,
that's the difference. And so
listen, I'm following what's happening right now in Ukraine. You know, they lost Bakhmut. They're fighting back for Bakhmut right now. Where do you think this is all coming from? Like, where's all the targeting coming from? How do you think they're leaving, coming back? Why they're here? Why they're there? I just can't see NATO not pulling up and being like, yo, sell us your products ASAP. Now, when this AIP is going to come out for military, bro, it's a wrap. Like, look, I'm not trying to be one of those hype people. I always say, you know, watch your back. Even last year, I was talking to Chris. I specifically said I'm going to give Palantir 2023 after these terrible earnings we had in 22. And if nothing pops off, that's when I'm going to rethink my investment.
You know, it's funny. You weren't the only one who said that. Most YouTubers that came out, including myself, I was like, yo, let's give them some quarters. I was like, let's give them, because 2022 August Q3 earnings were bad. That's when Karp said, yeah, we'll be profitable in 2025. As soon as he said that, like
18 years.
jaws dropped. We were like, are you fucking kidding? You guys went public 5 years ago at that point, 2020 to 2025, and now you're going to be profitable. It's like, it made no sense. Obviously, we should have realized there's no way in hell they're going to wait 5 years. But they're here. They are here right now. I want to play a clip real quick from this. I'm doing a video on this later, but we're talking about AI. Let's go back to the OG. I did an interview with him for a while ago. I'm going to put this link in the description for those who have not seen this. I think this would be one of the things you should watch if you're investing in Palantir. I asked Coach Strap about AI. We're just going to look at like 30 seconds to a minute of what he said.
It's hard.
And go from there.
It's really hard.
That's really interesting when you mention Steve Jobs, because it's like, okay, this device, this thing that has created multi-trillion dollars of opportunities and ultimately became a platform for the world to be able to create on top of it. That took a lot of engineering, and engineering is one thing, but like the philosophy of Jobs, this whole visionary idea that this one little box can be in your phone and transform the entirety of your existence, that took a lot of philosophical behavior to be able to come up with an idea that could do that. So when you're talking about AI and then AI that works with humans, it seems like you're saying Palantir is one of those companies that has done extensive levels of research influenced by their philosophical beliefs to not replace the human, but augment the human, to actually be able to create a system of an ecosystem of AI that makes sense.
Now, real quick, I think this was the actual clip I was trying to play right here. Why can Palantir win? Let's hear what Coach Strap says. He says something about AI that's really interesting.
So let's get into Palantir. Why do you
on your phone?
So let's get into Palantir. Why do you think Palantir can change the world? And what makes you excited about this company?
Well, what's perfect about Palantir, like, so there's a future that's emerging. And in that future, AI is everywhere. And we start to see a little bit today. Like, it's in your mic.
Okay, that's actually all I wanted to play. So he said there's a future that is emerging, and in that future, AI is everywhere. So I wanted to highlight Code Strap saying that instead of just me and you, Adam, like kind of excited today in the morning, because this is a guy who is working for PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers, one of the biggest consulting firms in the world, implementing Palantir Foundry within businesses. And a year ago, he said there is a future that is emerging, and in that future, AI is everywhere. Now, again, this was before AI was as hyped as it was. This was February 2022. I mean, AI was there, but there was no such thing like ChatGPT that was, getting 100 million users in 2 months. If AI is everywhere, the businesses that implement AI everywhere are going to win, and that might be Palantir.
I see it the same way. I mean, and it's getting better and faster and stronger